This is section 1.1. It is on solving linear equations. Linear equations. Let's do a handful of examples here today. So let's solve this equation here. So let me jot this down. You guys can put this on your notes. Something like that. The goal is to solve for x. So I would begin this problem by doing this. I would distribute the 3. So we'd have 6 minus 3x equals 2x minus 1. And then I would probably bring the x's together. So I would add 3x to this side. And simultaneously, I would add the 1 to the other side. So all the x's on one side, and then the regular numbers, the constants, on the other side. So this would be 7 equals 5x, because these cancel and these eliminate as well. Get x alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 5. And we're done. X would equal 7 over 5. 7/5. Looks good. Let's keep going. Here's the next one. Let's go 1/3 x equals 2 minus 2/3 x. So here we want the x's together. So we're going to have to move this block, or this term, to the other side through addition. So let's go addition 2/3 x, addition 2/3 x. These eliminate. Now here on the left, go 1/3 plus 2/3, right? We can combine these because they carry x's. So 1/3 plus 2/3, we have a common denominator already. That's 3/3 x equals 2. But 3/3 is just 1. So this really just says 1x equals 2. You don't have to put the 1 there. So really it's just x equals 2. And that would be it for that one. And that would be the final answer for that. Now, that one was kind of easy. Let's try another one that's more interesting. So for this one here, let's go x plus 2 over 4. And then plus x minus 1 over 5. All this, let's just put a 1 right there. Solve this equation for x. Well, this one's more interesting because now we have fractions. And it says addition. But you can't add fractions until the denominators are exactly the same number. So get a common denominator. So if I have a 4 and a 5, I'm thinking 20. I'll turn them both into 20. So I would have to times this fraction top and bottom by 5. And this one top and bottom by 4. But careful in the numerators, because this 5 would have to be distributed. That 4 would have to be distributed. And so really careful there. So let's see. So in the first fraction, we would have 5x plus 10 over 20. Addition. Distribute the 4 to this one. 4x minus 4 over 20. All this still equals 1. So yeah, so look, now we have a common denominator, so you can merge the two fractions together into 1. And you do so, it says addition, right? So add 5x and 4x. Next, add positive 10 with 4 negatives. That results in 6 positives over 20 equals 1. And then just do whatever you have to do to solve for x. I mean, here, I would get rid of the 20. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 20. Yeah, because these 20s would reduce away. And then we have, what, 9x plus 6. Let me go over here. 9x plus 6. On the right, go 1 times 20, all right? And then subtract 6 from 20. So that would be 14. And then divide by 9. So I'll put the answer right there. It would be 14 over 9. It's a fraction that doesn't reduce. And we would prefer a fraction over a decimal. So just leave the answer as 14 over 9. Here we go. X plus 2 times x minus 3 equal sign. And then go x plus 3 to the power of 2. How about you guys distribute? And then on the right, you know how it says x plus 3 squared? just pretend it says x plus 3 times x plus 3 and distribute that as well. So let me go back to the left. If I distribute and if I combine like terms, let me see. So that'd be x squared minus 3x and then plus 2x minus 6 equals. And on this side, if I distribute that, I would get this here. There we go, something like that there. And then why don't you combine? Why don't you combine the middle pieces? So this is x squared minus 1x minus 6 equals x squared plus 6x plus 9. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Oh, do you see what cancels? Do you see what's on the left that's also on the right, and they just knock each other out if you subtract them? The x squares, these completely knock each other out. They're gone. So we're left with minus 1x minus 6 equals positive 6x plus 9. Why don't you add the 1x to there? And why don't you subtract the 9 over there? So that these are gone and these are gone. And we're left with a negative 15. And on this side, it would be a positive 7x. Yeah, and then we're done, right? Just divide by 7. These reduce away. So x would equal this little fraction. 2x over x plus 3. And then it goes equals a negative 6 over x plus 3 minus 2. So I don't know what the answer is, but I'll tell you what the answer is not. That the answer is not negative 3. Go back to our first day of the semester. Remember we said that we cannot divide by 0? Well, because you don't want to divide by 0, I can guarantee you for this problem that x is not going to be negative 3. Because if you plug negative 3 in there, what would you get in the denominator? You would get 0. So you would be dividing by 0, and that's bad. So I don't know what the answer is yet, but I'll tell you what it's not. It's not negative 3. So let's do the math, and let's get an answer. And let's just make sure that the answer is not negative 3. So let me erase some of this stuff. Let's actually solve this question. Here's what I would personally do. I notice that these fractions have the same denominator. So I kind of want to bring them to the same side. So let me bring this to the other side. I'm basically going to add the 6 over here. See how this is negative? Let me add it to the other side. So if I do, it'll look like this. It'll be a plus 6. Right? I just decided to bring it to the other side because these are kind of the same thing. Fractions with a common denominator. So you can go ahead and add the numerators together. So if I do that, it'll be 2x plus 6 over that common denominator. So this is what we have there. Okay, now what? How about we do this? How about we get rid of the denominator altogether? What if I times both sides by x plus 3? That'll completely knock out all of that there. But put parentheses on the right because you have to distribute. We're going to have to distribute the negative 2. So on the left, these cancel, and we're left with 2x plus 6. And if you distribute the negative 2, we have negative 2x minus 6. How about we add the 2x to the other side? So let me add 2x to the left and to the right. So these are gone, and we'd be left with 4x plus 6 equals negative 6. And why don't you subtract 6 over there? So that 4x would equal negative 12. Now that'd be negative 6 and negative 6, negative 12. Divide by 4, and our final answer would be negative 3. Ooh, but hey, we just said a moment ago. That x cannot be negative 3. So sometimes you have a situation where in the equation, the answer is the very thing that you cannot be. So here it's like, what is it? This is the only answer we got, but we said it can't be that. So you would say no solution, right? This is a rare example. That rarely happens, where you have an equation that has no solution. This is such an example. If, let's just pretend you had done the math and the answer was like 7. That would have been the answer, 7. It just turns out that the only answer we got is the one thing that x cannot be. So this is kind of a weird problem, but I'm glad this happened because this happens sometimes. No solution. All right, last one for this video. Let's try number 60. So this says -4 over x plus 4 equals -3 over x plus 6. Yeah, let's solve this equation, and then we'll be done with this little mini lesson. So before we solve, let's find out what x cannot be. Just by looking at this problem, we know x cannot be -4 because it causes a 0 there. Similarly, x cannot equal -6 because it causes a huge problem there. All right, so now we know what x cannot be. Let's solve and let's see what x is. So I would do this for this problem. I would cross multiply. Remember that? That's old school. Let's cross multiply. Let's do a cross product here. So that would go -3 times x plus 4 equals -4 times x plus 6. And then you guys can distribute. So -3x minus 12 equals -4x minus 24. And let's see, we want to combine the x's, we want to combine the numbers. How about I go plus 4x there, plus 4x there, and I go plus 12, plus 12. So these are gone, these are gone. On the left, you have -3 and +4. That's a 1x. And then on the right, -24 and 12 positives is -12. And then we're done, right? X would equal -12. And that's it. That's the answer. This answer is acceptable because it's not one of the forbidden values, right? It can't be these guys, but it's all good because we got -12.